This tasty video is about supertasters. I often wondered how many people have the palate to perceive the difference between very good and perfect. And after doing some research, I found out that we are 25% non-tasters, 50% tasters, and 25% supertasters. Supertasters not only taste more intensely than other people, but they can detect bitter tastes where others cannot. The ability to supertaste is hence strongly connected to the perception of bitterness. The more you hate the bitter taste, the higher your likelihood to be a supertaster. While there is no way to know for sure that you are a supertaster, there are some telling signs that you most likely are. First, you have a very long list of things you don't like, such as anything that is famously bitter: grapefruit, beer, black coffee, dark chocolate, dry wine, and cruciferous vegetables. Although not all of this should apply to you. Smoking. The additives in tobacco may leave a bitter essence, which is unpleasant to supertasters. Alcohol. While the bitter notes in beers, citrusy seltzers, and hard liquors seem subtle to non-tasters and tasters, supertasters often find them dislikable. A couple of remarks here. With beer, supertasters we hate any beer. No matter if IPA or lager, they find all beers incredibly bitter and all the same. Hard liquors. The burn in hard liquors is a no-no for supertasters. Things are more complex when it comes to wine, where a lot of research has been conducted to evaluate how being a supertaster impacts one's ability to taste wine, but the results are unclear. Various reports suggest supertasters avoid tannic red wines because they are too bitter, but this is a bit simplistic, as it confuses astringency for bitterness. All of this does not mean that supertasters won't enjoy alcoholic beverages. The tangy aftertaste of alcohol is a determining factor only for some supertasters. Cilantro. When the bitter compounds in cilantro hit a supertaster's taste buds, the result is a soap-like taste. About 10% of the world's population hates cilantro, among them Julia Child, who admitted that she detested cilantro and it had a dead taste to her. Spiciness. If you hate jalapeno, chili, and cayenne peppers because you experience pain when eating them, that could be a sign that you are a supertaster. Other telling signs are if you prefer salty food. Although no clear scientific explanation comes with that, it is believed that salt helps camouflage the bitter taste in some foods. And last but not least, you are more likely to be a supertaster if you are a woman and if you are of Asian, African, or South American descent. There are also scientific ways to determine if you are most likely a supertaster. The simplest and most fun one for me is the PTC or the PROP paper test. PTC, short for phenylthiocarbamide, and PROP, 6N-propylthiouracil, are two chemically related compounds that are probes for genetic variation in bitter taste, with PROP being considered safer with less sulfurous odor. PTC was accidentally discovered to taste bitter to most people by chemist Arthur Fox back in 1931. Fox himself could not taste the bitterness in PTC, but while handling the substance in his lab, colleagues complained that the dust tasted bitter. PTC would taste anything from nothing to very bitter, the latter being a strong indicator of a supertaster. You can purchase PTC paper test strips on Amazon for anything ranging from $5 to $20 per 100 strips. Some kits also contain control strips, and I have to say now, having purchased the PTC paper myself, that the control strips would have made the tasting game much more fun. But next time. The little recipient that arrived to me looks like this. It is from PL Precision Laboratories in the US. Inside, there are 100 paper strips soaked in PTC. So far, I only tested them on me and my husband, but I'm really looking forward to boring a lot of my friends with them. The way they work is that you take one of the paper strips and you place it on the tip of your tongue. You leave it there for a couple of seconds, and after that, you rate the bitterness that you feel from a scale of 0 to 10. I rated myself 8 and my husband 2, which shows once more, if necessary, who is the better at everything. Another handy and straightforward test is counting the number of taste buds on your tongue. Ultimately, the one thing that dictates whether someone can taste, supertaste, or not taste is given by the number of taste buds. How to count the number of taste buds on your tongue? Use methylene blue solution to stain the anterior tongue. Filiform papillae, the thinner ones, which do not contain taste buds, will stain a deep blue, whereas fungiform papillae, the slightly bulkier ones, containing taste buds, will stain lightly. It is the density of this fungiform papillae that interests us. Take a plastic sheet protector, like this, and then place one of the round holes, any of these, on your darkened tongue, and then count the number of lightly stained fungiform papillae within the hole. Fewer than 4 means that you are most likely a non-taster, 4 to 8 that you are a taster, and anything over 8 that you are a supertaster or supertaster. Ultimately, a genetic test will determine if you have what is called the supertaster gene, namely gene TAS2R38. Scientists believe that many supertasters have this gene, which increases a person's perception of the bitterness in various foods and drinks. The supertaster gene is a dominant gene, meaning only one of your parents needs to have it for you to be having it too. This gene has also been linked to stronger immunity against infections, including the latest scare, COVID-19. But is being a supertaster a blessing? Oh no. Just to understand the dimension of the drama around supertasting, my constant criticism of food and my irritation with bad food have brought my friends to suggest I should be podcasting under the name The Food Bitch. On a personal note, through this video, I'm very happy to tell people who feel superior for liking dark chocolate, very dry wine, and black coffee that I am far more superior and most probably a super taster. I feel that bitterness should be banned by law, the only acceptable one for me being the delicate hint of it in the bitter cherry confiture, an absolute delicacy that I can find in my home country, Romania. This single instance elevates bitterness to sophistication. My Uncle Paul grows such a bitter cherry tree in his garden, and the sherry he makes from them is absolutely to die for. It made me think that all it takes to become an alcoholic is just finding the right drink to get addicted to.